Yeah, here we are. Florida home to be sold in novel non-fungible token deal. So, a home along Florida's Gulf Coast will be auctioned off in the upcoming week as a non-fungible token in what is believed to be among the first such transactions in the U.S. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, use a version of the encryption technology employed to secure cryptocurrencies to create one-of-a-kind digital objects. The technology provides digital creations a kind of certificate of authenticity, allowing ownership of something that could otherwise be replicated easily. I disagree with this. I disagree. What? You don't get ownership of anything. You don't get ownership of that. You don't get ownership of those digital objects. That's not what happens. Not at all. In the case of the 4-bedroom home in Gulfport, Florida, a California-based real estate technology company, PrimeCayes, will mint the property rights into a digital token and host an online auction with bids starting at $650,000. Minting property rights into an NFT would allow owners to sell a home as quickly as a Venmo transaction, Leslie Alexander, the home's current owner, told the Tampa Bay Times. Christopher Vasilakis, a local real estate and virtual reality expert, how's he a virtual? Okay, whatever. Describes such a transaction as essentially just selling a company, and a company owns that house. I don't know. That sounds more confusing, actually. There could also be challenges given the volatility of cryptocurrency, and it's not yet clear that the value of the house tied to an NFT would be affected by the crypto market, Vasilakis said. So, yeah. So, what I imagine this is that the contract, because the NFT is just a container, right? So there's a blockchain, which is just a long ledger, right? It's just a digital ledger of events. And an NFT, as my understanding, is just it's just a container. You can put anything in that container, right? And mostly you get these, digital certificate of authenticity put into that container, right? So a certificate, and they're saying that this thing is unique, and that's it. But you can also put other things in there. So you could put like a contract. You could just like insert that like a text file, I guess, and like if that's the property, right, then I guess you could then like give that, right, the deed, right, or something, right, to an individual, like give it to them through the blockchain, and then they have it, it's theirs. So this seems like more real than anything else I've seen on NFTs. Like, so yeah, I'm curious as to like how legal it is, though. Like, this is not a thing that's done. I'm not. This sounds like a thing that hasn't been tested in court at all. So I don't know. Would a court accept, like, if they ask you for the property rights, like the property information, and you don't have like actual documentation? It's like, oh, it's on the blockchain. It's an NFT. How's that gonna go? I don't know. Comrade Dax, yeah, I'm not sure how this hasn't gotten bad either, but here's your picture of a 4-bedroom house. Congrats. Guilty rats. Yeah. So yeah, I this is why I had a problem with that part in the article where it says oh, excuse me. It says the technology provides digital creations a kind of certificate of authenticity, sure, allowing ownership of something that could otherwise be replicated easily. No, it doesn't give you ownership at all. It says you have a certificate of authenticity. It's like those toys, right? Like you'll have those fancy toys, and sometimes toys come with a certificate of authenticity. It's like someone gave you the certificate, but they still have the toy, right? So if you someone sells an NFT of a digital piece of artwork, well, it's great. They sold you a certificate. They sold you literally a bill of goods, right? But not the goods. So yeah, and that whatever the digital property can always be easily replicated, so copy and pasted, so you get nothing. You get absolutely nothing. So I'm assuming that what I just described is correct, because anyway, this AP person doesn't understand the blockchain or NFTs, right? So they don't get in it either. So I'm a little suspect of their description later on of exactly what the real estate company is doing and how that's going to work. But yeah, this is the thing that's happening. So oh, hello, Lilac Doll. They say it seems like a solution in search of a problem. Documenting house sales has been pretty well settled for a while now. You're exactly right. Lilac, you are 100% correct on that. A solution in terms looking for a problem. That's exactly it. Like it works fine now. Absolutely fine. And what is it? They said you can the property owner says says that you could sell a home as quickly as a Venmo transaction. Well, I mean, you could sell a home very quickly now. I mean, like if you really wanted to get it off your hands, I guess you could just hand it over to someone. But like the reason why we have the steps that we do in between is to protect individuals, right? If you're buying a home, like you want to make sure that like the foundation is like solid, right? Like, are they going to do an inspection here? That's something, right? Like they do inspections for homes when you sell them to make sure that, like, you know, you're not fucking termites and shit, right? They do an appraisal. I guess it's been appraised since they're putting a dollar amount on it, right? But is there an inspection? Can you look at that? Do you actually want to buy a house faster? Like, and you're not like a drug kingpin who has a reason to do that, to stash his money away? Like, what is the purpose of buying a house faster? What does that get you? I don't know. Yeah, it's not clear to me how that is going to help anyone. And it seems like it would just be room for abuse. And remember, wallets get hacked. So if all your property documents of the entirety of your ownership of this house comes from a blockchain wallet, and your wallet gets hacked and they take that NFT, well, like, can someone come through and say like, well, no, this is actually my house, you should get out of my property, you're squatting, I have the property rights, like the rights are right here? This hasn't been tested into court. This is why there's a problem. This is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Anything digital will always be risky, indeed. China has lost the 21st century due to crypto ban. You think so? Okay. But yeah, I agree with that. It's a solution in search of a problem, which usually just creates more problems. Yeah, I wouldn't keep holdings either in these wallets. I wouldn't keep holdings. And people can hack your wallet like without you even interacting with it. So it's, I don't know. All right, so yeah, if you want to talk about this as well, right? If you have ideas about this, well then come on in! Exclamation point open. Let's see now. This is an open walk-on panel. Honest members like you, yes, you're sitting at home and participate. Join the Discord server and go into the rowboat waiting rooms to be let in, and there's a link for your convenience. We'd love to have you. Come on in. Have a conversation with us about this. Yeah. Let's okay. Let's do it. Sorry, what is this? Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's. Oh, are the people in the waiting room? Oh, cool. All right, let's bring them in. Yeah, we got one. We got a mod here. That's good. Anyway, there I am. You guys want to hop on in, have a conversation? Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll have an actual talk about this. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just like trying to figure out, is this inevitable? Will we have more things tied to the achievement? Hey, Dr. K, how are you? Hey, it's motherfucking Wick. Oh my god. There he is. Holy shit. I need to get his lovely face on screen that everyone can experience the magic. Let me do it. Hold on. There he is. Wick. Hey, buddy. I'm really happy to see you. Like, I'm honestly happy you're okay.
Oh, I was just just very briefly, a couple of my relatives got hospitalized due to COVID, so I had to move to help them. So
okay, I get that. Well, yeah. Well, thanks for coming back. I guess your life has gotten really busy, but yeah, you still have a home here, buddy.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. We also have Bmore and Dr. K and Yamato. Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Zigmover.
And
oh shit!
how's it going?
Party.
Hey.
Man, panel made up of only people I like. Those are rare.
It won't be for long. Somebody's coming. It's no matter of.
EDLM.
Hi. Sorry, is this the open panel?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. I'm Tier Gear in chat, by the way. I'm just a different name on Discord.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, thanks for being here. And I think I said hi to everyone. Okay. So thoughts on everything that I just said?
You know what you just said, so.
No, they were arguing about something else, but in regards to NFTs and cryptocurrency, there is a place in this world, I think, for cryptocurrency. However, I think it's been monetized way too much. NFTs, however, are just a scam. You have to remember, when you're buying an NFT, you're not buying any of the images or the sounds or the data associated with that NFT. The only thing you are buying is a position in a line, a position in a blockchain. That does not give you the rights to anything having to do with that position. So, for example, if you buy an NFT of a video game console, like you buy the Nintendo NFT, you don't get the right to the image of the Nintendo, you don't get a right to use the name of the Nintendo, you don't get any of that. All you do is you have a right to stand beside that thing and say, I have the only person that can stand beside this place in this specific spot.
It's like having an image, right? Like, just, I own this image. No one else can use
But you
it.
don't own the image.
You don't own the image. So you just own an image. Okay.
No, you own a position in a line. You own a position in a line. You own a receipt that says that you have the right to stand in this position in a line, and no one else can stand in this particular position. However, if you're standing next to a painting, that painting can be used in other NFTs, and you have no control over that. So even the artwork or the asset that is associated with the NFT, they can be used in other NFTs, and you have no recourse. It's nothing. It's a scam.
Wick,
How
hear
do
me
you-
out though. Hear me out, Wick. This is
Don't
some
you
bad
dare be
advocacy
more.
on your part, right? We should just simp for NFTs, right? Let dumbass rich people pay stupid ass amounts for nothing. like,
Nah,
Yeah,
bro.
Whoa.
See,
I
'cause,
would,
like,
I would
wait,
say.
nah.
Well,
I
say
don't like that
NFTs
because like
are-
it's
that's
it's
okay.
not
You understand
just
what I'm
it's
saying here, right? Like,
Okay,
not
but
just
here's the
it's
issue
not
with
just
that,
dumb.
Beemore.
It's not just
Yeah, let me
dumb
hear
rich
your
people
issue.
though.
But
Like,
Yeah, I get
that's
the
the issue. So
sentiment, and
what
if-
is happening is
Let me hear it
people
out.
is companies and things are in less reputable companies and things. What they'll do is they'll create an NFT and then they'll sell their NFTs back and forth to each other and to their friends. So if you look at the transaction, which you can look at what they're selling for. You see someone buying it for $5 and you see someone buying it for $50. Then you see someone buying it the next week for $500 and you think, "Oh my god, this is a hot ticket item. This is going around. I'm going to buy it and make some money." When all that's happening is those people are selling to each other to create the appearance of value. It's a scam, and these are using tactics to draw people in who
But here's
aren't
the thing.
educated on the topic.
No, so be
Be
more.
this not from a scam?
If it was,
Let
if
me
it was
respond to this.
just,
Can we talk about the technology possibly?
wait,
the
wait,
rule
Vince.
sets attached to these NFTs? Like you can actually stipulate that whenever you sell, a percentage goes to the original holder. So if you create a piece of art, you can now, like, whenever you sell it to someone else, the original person who minted it can get some Ethereum from that transaction. You can't have this with
I mean, you
traditional
can do that without
art.
NFTs though.
Yeah,
Think
but that's
about
very
that.
difficult.
Well,
The blockchain
no,
makes it
it's
really easy.
not.
It's a distributed ledger.
It's
It's a
called
distributed ledger that's
royalties, and we
attached.
had that for years, mate.
Wait,
Anyways.
Well,
the solution
that's true, but this new way of doing things, this new infrastructure, it makes payments frictionless. Therefore, any asset attached to it via IPFS, which is how these NFTs have this data attached to them, right? Is they have a token URI that has a address.
Yeah,
whenever
no, I'm
they-
educated on it. You don't have to
No, but
tell me
no,
what
no,
the
no,
fucking.
no, not a lot of people know about this.
Alright,
Not a lot of people.
fair
So
enough.
explain. Yeah.
So there's something called IPFS, which is the interplanetary file system, and whenever you upload a file to it, you get a hash, and then you can take this hash and put it inside the token URI whenever you instantiate an NFT. That's just how it works. I just want to explain that. I do some of this stuff. I think it's really cool. And whenever you create an NFT contract, you can actually say that anytime it's transferred, 10% of the total transaction can go to the original person. I think that's pretty huge. I mean, you can do it traditionally, but I mean that's a lot of hoping. Whereas on the blockchain, it's
but-
automatically gonna.
And
We
this
already
is an
know
important
we can
point. This
do
is an
that,
important point
and your
with
stuff
the
requires 10 times
royalties
the energy
and
input.
such.
Go on, Wick.
Because
That's
you're
not true with
correct.
proof of stake.
Wick.
You're thinking proof of work.
No,
Okay.
even with
But-
stake, it's way more intensive. Anyways,
Wait, then proof of work?
Shut up,
Then
Wick.
proof of work.
But
Sorry.
that's part of the scam. I'm sorry. What was your name again? Eldem?
Eldem. Yeah, you can call me
Eldem,
Tigger
okay.
Eldem.
Tier gear, okay. But you're right in that the infrastructure makes a lot of things possible that are interesting, but an NFT is not the infrastructure. An NFT is what the infrastructure is being used to do. And when we talk about these royalties for transactions, that's part of the scam. So if I create an NFT today and I create 999 positions in this NFT with 999 random images associated in it, and I can gen up interest in this so people are buying and selling, I absolutely, and this is how they make money on this, I can absolutely set up so that 10% or 1% or whatever, a percentage of each transaction goes directly to me. So remember, all these people are buying and selling things that are simply data points. They're not the image, they're not the sound file, they're not anything that's attached to the data point. And the person who owns the NFT is just raking in money for people selling nothing when it
How
comes
about
down to it.
NFT
Nothing.
games? What do you think about that? Because I'm curious.
NFT
'cause-
games. Can you
No.
tell me what you mean by that?
So
Like-
there's something called Axie Infinity where you can actually mint like Pokemon like NFTs, and you can have them battle and increase their level and stuff like that experience. And people
Oh.
actually,
I've heard about this thing where
It's
people in the
pretty good.
Philippines
I
are
like-
working for minimum wage on it. Oh my god, I love doing that to my
oh,
video
this is my
games.
first panel by the way, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of erratic.
You're all
but-
good.
Oh, you're fine.
Hey,
You
all
haven't
I
been
want-
Are they
erratic.
like
Very
the?
passionate.
Is this gonna
All
be
I
like
wanna
the
see-
NFT shows
Wait,
in which
wait.
like
All
look
I wanna
terrible
see
or
is
terribly
that,
produced?
we text the shit out of these things for the fuck of it. It'll be very entertaining.
Well,
to you.
but that's another problem. Who has ownership? Is the ownership? That's the wrong word. Not ownership.
You tax
Who?
at the point of
What
purchase.
government is responsible for taxing? Is it the government where the data is housed in? Is it the government where the people who is selling the NFT? Is it the government for the person who's buying the NFT? We don't have a system yet that is able to answer these questions.
Yeah, I
And
don't think this
so
question's that complicated at all. At all.
You
What's your
don't
name?
think
I'm
so?
sorry.
it's
Like,
extremely complicated.
What makes it complicated?
Okay, so say I buy an NFT where the NFT's data, the physical data, is stored in the Ukraine, for example,
Well, who
and
purchased it?
and I'm selling it to someone in Norway.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just making up countries off the
Well,
top of my head.
That's
Who-
it. Easy answer. Easy answer.
Who
I already
regulates
did it.
that? First of all, who regulates the transaction? Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for taxing the transaction?
Wick, stop acting like this is like a fucking smart ass question. This is dumb. Look, easy. I don't care. The transaction didn't occur in America. Let some other nation deal with that. Now, if this
But other
situation-
nations definitely
yeah,
care.
yeah, but I don't. But I don't. Now, if this transaction occurred somewhere in America where the person selling it or the person buying it was stateside, then tax the shit out of them. Now, if these other nations want to do their own thing, that's on them. But I would like to see NFTs taxed as an American.
That's going to be difficult. That's going to be really
No,
hard.
no, it would not be because unless they want to renounce their damn citizenship, I think the IRS is quite effective. The debt collectors of guns.
How do you
So,
track
I
that
think it's-
public key? That public key is very difficult to figure
don't
out.
track the
Yeah,
key,
I'm
you
not.
track the
I'm not so
transaction.
much concerned about taxing. I'm concerned about regulating because there is
worried
laws
about
in America
taxes.
against insider
I'm
trading, for
concerned with
example.
destroying.
I'm
I'm
curious
interested.
on how
I'm
this
interested in
will-
Well, we can talk
taxation.
about
we got,
everything
like,
except for
several
whatever
different
Dr. K just said.
factions. Yeah, like we
but-
got several different factions. We got destroying, we got taxing. Like
I mean,
we just
tax
got
it.
niggas
Hey,
worried
Dr.
about
K,
it.
if you tax it enough, you destroy it.
I'm just sitting
That's
here
true.
like the
That's
art's
cool.
the art
That
is
is-
I
terrible.
just want it
so.
gone though. I just
Well,
want
let's-
it straight gone.
Then let's
Okay.
tax it some more then, okay? I think we can make some common ground, okay, Dr. K? We'll
Let's
talk to you
double
later
Tax
about it.
and cessation of assets, pretty cool with me, frankly.
Well,
What are you going to seize? There's no actual asset except for a.
Shit, no, we're
I'm
gonna
not
see
Well,
saying
all
there's
of
the
those.
fucking no. There's the massive fucking mining rigs.
Don't
That is
pretend
something
that
you can't.
data
That's
is
going
not-
away.
Wick, stop acting like data's
Is
not
it?
a...
Yeah.
I'm not sure we
That-
have proof
data
that
is-
that's actually
that-
going to go
That
away.
is an asset. What the hell?
Like,
When it
you
comes
know,
to
You just say
NFT,
Adobe
you-
Photoshop is not an asset. It's software. It's nothing but a string of code. Yes, code is assets.
Hmm.
they're gonna take
Yeah.
all of those like fucking data rigs and they're gonna take
Sure.
all of that data and they're gonna be like, oh, this was worth it, baby. This was more than worth it. Our government
you're
loves
hyper-
spying on people.
Your hypothetical is dependent on two nations that are not in America. When I'm talking about taxation, I'm obviously talking about...
Okay, all right. So we talk about two different things. Okay, that's fine. Sure, but we can address both of those, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with taxation first. I think that's easier. Okay, we'll start with taxation. You're saying so you don't even like it, like this whole NFT thing. And so you're like, well, why don't you just tax them at both ends, right? Like simple. You can.
Yeah.
Right, because if you're saying that it doesn't matter if they're the buyer or the sender, that means you're essentially taxing them at both ends. Would that be accurate?
I would say you tax them at the end you can. I would rather tax the seller, but if the buyer is the only individual that's accessible, then you're gonna have to tax the buyer.
So you'd have to have a scheme that figures out if the seller is available, like seller comes first and then next the buyer. I think that
Yep.
makes it even more complicated.
No, I mean, if the buyer wants to refute it and they want to give up their source on who they purchased it from, then the IRS can investigate.
It seems like a lot. I mean, like there's a lot of transactions happening, right?
I think the
Yeah.
IRS has been spending so much time like auditing poor people, they can go like work on this instead.
I think they should work on rich people.
I think they should, right? But I think it's kind of like that's a hard ask nowadays, right?
Okay, all right.
You are right. They do be cowards on that front.
They do be big cowards. Why? Because rich people are capable of hiring attorneys.
There you go.
Okay, so what about, so then we're talking about regulation, right? Do you Eldom, do you
Oh,
think,
yes.
do you think that these should be regulated?
I'm not sure how you can regulate. I mean, the thing is with Ethereum is that you could get rid of half the United States, Ethereum's still going. Like, you know, Ethereum is like borderless, right? The blockchain is, and anyone can start a node. I think Gary Gensler's had a really difficult problem regulating digital assets, and I think as long as these DAOs, these decentralized autonomous organizations, can file as a security for their token drops and stuff, I think that's fine as long as they go through proper protocol. I'm not sure what more protocol needs to happen. By the way, I also have COVID, so my brain is like kind of frazzled. But also, the smart contract. Do you guys know about what do they call decentralized exchanges versus centralized exchanges like Coinbase and stuff like
Yep,
that?
I know about them.
Gotcha. So there's a big problem with decentralized exchanges right now, and they're probably trying to get rid of them because of the fact that smart contracts don't mesh very well with the current financial system.
Yeah.
But it helps with infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're saying, I don't know how we would tax or regulate these things. Well, like we can find out who owns these wallets, right? Like where these people have already been doing that. People have been tracking.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
others.
super easy.
If you create a Sorry, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. When you create a wallet and you have your public key, we don't know that you have that public key until you say that this public key is mine.
No,
Am I correct on that?
No, other people have been tracked. Like we know that, especially if you already know the purchase, right? If you know the purchase,
Yes.
then it's on the ledger, right? And you can you match times, and people have been able to match identities, right?
But we don't know that PrimeCayes is that wallet, correct?
No, if you know that I don't know. It depends, I guess, on the transaction, how much information that you have. But if you know that I have sold something, right, and you know when I sold it, then you can figure out like which wallet that is.
True. There is actually there's something called Tornado that is on Ethereum where you can actually send transactions on Ethereum that are so obfuscated it can't really be tracked. I've actually never used Tornado personally, but I know that is a utility out there that is on Ethereum and maybe some other chains.
Dr. K. Oh, sorry.
Eldum's already explained how you fucking regulate it. Decentralized exchanges are essentially super easy to exploit, right? You can there's a whole bunch of ways to essentially do financial fuckery. There's a whole list of it, right? And so, yeah, because of that, this decentralized exchanges are going away in favor of centralized exchanges. And the centralized exchanges often are, much more easy to, interact with. They're a far more visible organization. And so if you were going to be doing regulation, I would say the start point would be, the centralized exchanges and things like OpenSea and shit like that. OpenSea needs to be shut down, though. Frankly, like that.
Is OpenSea centralized? Because it's just like a viewer for the blockchain, really. They don't really hold any data, do they? I believe they have like the same role as like
they're using zero-sum proofs for data and stuff. So it's really hard to track through zero-sum proofs. So like that. I work in finance, and that's one thing that we're working with for blockchain is zero-sum proofs, and trying to implement that with password and security integration. So like instead of using two-factor security, you're using blockchain and zero-sum proofs to access your account. And this
cool.
is this is like a secure method. So it's a way to even prevent a person that's like has a keylogger on your system or like a hacker that has access to your system. They still can't access your account because you have a blockchain and a zero-sum proof. But yeah, there a lot of the people using, especially like with NFT purchases, are using zero-sum proofs to get around a lot of the security stuff and the security red tape that comes with it.
So, but these wallets can also be hacked by sending a payload to the wallet, right? Through the form of an NFT. So the NFT can be any piece of software. They can send it to you, right? They know your wallet. They can just send it to you and then steal it from there. Once you go and interact with it. Like we've seen exactly that, right?
Yeah, like I said, zero-sum proofs is like kind of like super cutting edge technology. It's not really a huge thing that a lot of people know about, and there's still a lot of research out on it. So yeah, that hacking stuff, like you said, Prime, is still rampant. It's still very, very much rampant.
Yeah. So, like people are, I saw someone else say, "Oh, it's Ace Man. Oh, you're out. What are you running away from?"
Oh no!
Like,
Oh, can I like talk shit to your chat real quick?
Yeah, like,
'Cause
what-
I fucking
like,
I
what's-
fucking love this. It's called an open panel, you guys. If y'all got some shit to say to these leftist Marxist motherfuckers, come on the panel
I'm
and
right
say
here,
it.
honey.
Stop bitching in chat.
Tyra,
Dr.
you know how it
K ain't
goes.
gonna run away.
They get
Yeah.
they get all gassed up in chat, but they
Mhm.
won't show face.
Yeah, like y'all won't show face. We out here on the panel. We actually
If-
talking about the shit. Y'all hiding behind the keyboard.
If
Yeah,
y'all
you
are
talk
if
about
y'all
the
are
upside on
if y'all are
this shit.
interested with like the computer scientist version of the zero sum proofs and stuff, I'll talk to you all in like in private messages or like a private voice chat or something.
Oh, Zig, please.
A lot
my dear.
of the technology goes over a lot of people's heads, especially in chat and panels sometimes.
Mm.
When it comes to the technological specific data points when it comes to NFTs and to zero sum, like I hadn't heard of zero sum until you just mentioned it just
Mhm.
now. So I'm learning a little bit. So thank you for helping me learn.
Um,
But I think those are beside the point when it comes to NFTs, and what I'm more interested in and what I think I understand better is the impact that these things are having on the average user and the impact
I
it's
was just
having.
gonna I was just gonna bring that up. Like, I'm perfectly fine with like a rich person spending money on NFTs, but I just don't want like someone to make a website and have it like complete gambling, right, with NFTs and have and they market it to children, and we get the whole CS:GO effect of with the NFTs. I think that's like one of the fears. Like, I don't agree that it is a scam, but it could become an outright scam to get children to spend money on it. That's just one of the fears that I have with NFTs, because there are a bunch of children that's impressionable. They see the NFTs, they see people on YouTube talking about their rare NFTs, and they could possibly spend their parents' money or their own money and like get ripped off in a situation.
Yeah, but that's almost true of anything when it comes to the internet. The loot boxes, one of the big issues with them is again kids spending their parents' money. So I think while you're right that NFTs could be used as a scam, they are being used as a scam. They are being used by people to do what the equivalent of insider trading, to overinflate the value of positions on a chain, and they're able to exploit people's poor understanding of what an NFT is actually getting, and they're able to make a lot of money off people's ignorance. Now, there is a certain part of me that says, okay, buyer beware, you know what I mean? Like, people should educate themselves before they make purchases. But at the same time, I am not going to sit there and hold the people who are engaging in these practices blameless for basically ripping people off.
So let's talk about that though. The ripping people off in terms of like artwork. So you said something.
the shitty artwork.
Well, the artwork is terrible. It's fucking terrible. It's dog shit.
Yeah, it's either dog shit or pirated.
Yeah, like half the artwork on them shows is just stolen.
Yeah,
like
so,
stolen from people's YouTube.
But is it stolen? Okay, so for instance, there are apparently NFTs being made of like Twitch streamers and their likeness, right? Like their likeness and like their avatars, and that's an NFT. Oh, we've made an NFT of them. Now we're selling that, right? But the Twitch streamer had nothing to do with it. Or NFTs being made of stuff like from like DeviantArt. And I think DeviantArt literally has like a system in place to try to help people identify when that's happening. But it's making money off of someone else's property, but they're not actually losing anything, right? So they're not. Hold on, let me finish. So they're not actually losing, like the actual artwork. Artwork's still there. Someone has created a certificate of authenticity. That's essentially what the NFT is, for that artwork. But the creator could actually create another one if they wanted to, right? There's nothing stopping them from doing that. So, like, what is the loss? I mean, it feels fucked up that this other person who had nothing to do with the creation of this is making money off of it, but also, like, if the original owner wasn't going to make an NFT off of it in the first place, well, then have they actually lost anything?
Okay, so like when we're talking about it, what are they authenticating? If it's not their original artwork, they didn't create. What are they authenticating that it's there? Cause like, cool, I can take 4 different screenshots. I can authenticate that it's there too. I can do that too.
They're not even doing that. They're not authenticating that it's there. They're just creating a certificate of authenticity. That's
Again,
it.
it comes from a misunderstanding of what you are getting when you buy an NFT, because again, you're not buying the artwork. So that's why it's hard. That's why these legal questions make it hard for governments and for entities to deal with this right now, because they aren't stealing in the traditional sense, as Prime alluded to here. They aren't taking away in the traditional sense. What they are is one comparison is YouTube React content. You're reacting to other people's YouTubes and stuff. Are you stealing the stuff? Are you stealing the content?
There's a difference.
Really.
It's not transformative.
There's a difference between fair use and copyright. Copyright.
You're making money.
Yeah.
There's a difference between fair use and like blatant copyright. Like, so I know in South Korea there's like BTS, the entire group BTS has NFTs in their likeness that they're suing the company over because they didn't give them authorization to use their likeness on NFTs. Mm-hmm. They're in court right now. We'll just see how. I want to see how this kind of turns out, because they're suing for a lot of money just using their likeness without their like consent or whatever. I know some Twitch streamers are doing it too, but I don't know who. I know like Pokimane had an issue with it, but she kind of like reneged on it, so I don't know what's going on there. But I know like for sure like BTS is having a big issue with it. And they're a pretty well known Korean group, South Korean group.
But
so.
but again, what did they lose in that NFT episode? Like what?
They had their
what is the
consent
theft?
violated and their likeness used.
Hold on. Okay, but what if you're on the street? You're on the street, and someone takes a photo of you, right? Public street. Zig, if you can mute yourself, we can hear you typing. If you're on the street, someone takes a public photo of you and then uses that, right? You can take photos of people within the public, right?
I mean, you actually can't do that without someone's consent, at least here in California.
No, you can't.
That's
you
not
could...
true. That law specifically.
Let me try this.
That's not true, Dr. K. We
Yeah.
can talk about
If
that
it's
later.
at an event or a group or something.
No,
I know.
No, that's not. No,
that's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true. You can take
I can
a picture of
explain the
people in
specific
public.
law, but it's like besides the point.
You can't take a picture of them in their like in a private setting necessarily, but like when
You're not allowed to take. You're not allowed to harass people via photo when it's based on their occupation and their children. But besides that, you can take pictures of people willy nilly.
Yeah, people do it all the time. So that
I could take a
pretty
meme
sure
of
we
you.
have different laws here.
No, I
No,
looked
you
specifically at California law, and I'm speaking specifically when it comes to
Really?
California law right now. Yes, I am.
Because I've seen a lot harsher
California still has paparazzi.
preparations.
Like no,
Exactly.
and paparazzi's allowed in California.
I feel
And they don't get arrested for it.
I feel different when we're talking about like snapping a photo of someone on the street, because like we do have laws where it's like, yeah, we do like allow that. When we're talking about artwork or something, to me it feels like, you're kind of taking someone's artwork and using it like the cover for your book. Your book may
If
not
I
necessarily-
snap a
I guess-
photo
I
of
guess
someone's
it,
painting.
but,
I guess
I'm
an
gonna make
argument-
money off of it.
I guess
If
the
I-
argument is that you release it up to the public, so it's like public domain. Like anybody should be able to use it, but I don't think that's true, right?
So
Maybe there's an actual answer to this question. I'm not sure, but if I take a photo of your painting, and then I sell that photo, I'm not selling your painting. You're not losing the painting. Is that legal? I don't think anyone knows.
No,
I don't.
If you take a picture of my painting and then try and sell that for a profit, is that illegal? In some cases, yeah, there have been lawsuits and people have lodged complaints where artwork has been used without permission for profit.
Yeah, so I have an example of this. I have an example of this, which was I thought was really bullshit. So I talked to Pisco about this on stream. It wasn't related to NFTs or anything, but we were talking about it was like copyright. And
Oh,
do you remember this? So we were talking about
yeah,
the toys.
because I showed up at the end. Yeah, yeah.
There were toys like Star Wars toys, right? Like when the newer movies came out, Star Wars toys that came out, and they were in Walmart. The toys were put out on display and for purchase early, too early. They were supposed to. It was supposed to be a little while ago, right? A little while later, but when people saw them, like, oh, there's these new toys out. I didn't know like these toys were gonna be here, right? So they took pictures of them, and they put them on social media. Disney had them taken out. Went to Facebook and put like a copyright strike against them because they are using the likenesses of their toys, of the artwork and the toy itself, without permission, and so they got those taken down. So yeah, you can actually do that. Go ahead, Eldon.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see court orders go to OpenSea, and there's another NFT marketplace called Rarible. I think they're going to get a lot of requests to have those NFTs not be shown or those collections not be shown, because I think even Odyssey, if there is objectionable content, it will still be on their ledger, but they'll just block that from being that IPFS hash or whatever data that is attached to that transaction from being shown. Odyssey is cool, by the way. Their blockchain is called Library, and if you download the Odyssey app, the little library blockchain background task or whatever will show up. It's kind of neat. So that's awesome. You're sponsored. Sorry.
And I'm guessing you've got a little bit of investment with them, yeah?
Me personally?
Yeah.
No, I just think it's a cool technology. Hopefully, I'd like to make my own blockchain, and I really like the idea of using your Android phone as like a propagation node or something like that. It's kind of neat.
All right, man.
Well, Dr. K is actually alluding to another problem, is that the incentive for people who have bought into NFTs to make you believe that they are actually of value is super high, because that's all the value it is based on what people believe the value.
Yeah, we're talking about pump and dumps.
You could also say the gas fee is in of itself a capital, like something you have to put into like the business, right? Because a lot of these tokens, they have to have some amount of Ethereum to kind of back them. Like there's a whole economy now on stable coins, and like these chains, they need to do well because there's a lot of interoperability between the chains. So that's something really interesting. Vitalik Buterin has talked at length about that. We need to hope all chains do well.
Well, see, that's one of the big reasons I'm against all this shit, is the fucking absolute wild proliferation of pump and dump schemes that seem to make up about 95% of the economy, frankly, is these projects essentially coming in, begging for money, getting whatever thing they're hawking valuable, selling, and then disappearing without a trace. It's quite rampant, and it's a reason like 90% of these things are behaving the same way pyramid schemes do, and I don't see any intercommunity push to try and stop this behavior. If anything, it seems to be quite rewarded within these cryptocurrency communities.
Actually,
people enjoy it. People love the pump and dump stuff. It's like a casino. Like people say, "Hey, I've got a new token up," and people buy into it and try and get in as fast as possible. I don't do that. I think it's kind of funny that people are doing that. It's a cool little thing, I guess. I mean,
cool little thing, huh?
It's interesting.
Not gonna lie, part of me is like, I want to make an NFT and get free money too.
I see where Dr. K is getting at it here. Like, it's cool. It sounds cool and funny when we say it out loud, but then when you read some of these stories where it's like, yo, I put my life savings on this.
Don't do that.
Kids, and then these guys ran.
And then these dudes are literally on Reddit like, help me. What do I do now? And these dudes are just gone. It really is kind of a problem that the NFT community. I'm wondering what is y'all's solution to that? Is it just your solution where it's kind of funny, or is it are we gonna actually try and do something? Because that seems a bit.
There's a huge difference.
Zig mentioned a lawsuit going on right now that's going to affect partially affect that is what can governments do? What can legal institutions do against these people? Not only when it comes to pump and dump, as Dr. K was suggesting, but when it comes to things like copyright infringement and using people's
I'm
likeness.
very specifically concerned about this pump and dump stuff, and I want preventative measures, not, a Band-Aid that you can put on after you've lost all your money, and now you have to also shell out lawyer fees.
Well, do you think that Bitcoin is more stable than I'm going to use a term, shitcoin. Do you think Bitcoin is more stable or less stable or equally as stable as a shitcoin?
When you say shitcoin, you mean like Dogecoin?
I'm sorry.
No, you're talking about the ones that are like pumped out of nowhere and then go
Doge, Inu, Elon, Floki, PrimeCayes coin.
PrimeCayes coin.
Stuff that's always given like a one name, like catchy thing, like Sploople or Splarm or Beepus or something like that.
If it's stable, there would be some form of flatline, like Bitcoin being up like 12 fucking %.
Yeah, none of them are stable.
Like I don't know what's the point. I mean, so what's stability to you, right? Like being up 12,000% isn't like stability. It's upward mobility, but it's not stability. So I would like for you to explain what do you mean by stability.
So there's a whole range of stable coins like DAI, USDC, True USD, True Odd for Australian dollar. There's a whole bunch of these stable coins are either tied to the US dollar or tied to some algorithm. I think that's what DAI is tied to. A lot of these exploits you hear about are people who manipulate the contract code. So I think Ethereum had a problem where you could inherit another contract. And there was some shenanigans that happened there. I'm not super tight. I'm not very smart about smart contracts. I don't write a ton of them, but stablecoins are really important.
Compared to these coins, like Bitcoin would be extremely unstable, right?
Yes. Bitcoin's rise has been insane, but
I wouldn't call anything that doubles in value and then halves in value 6 months, apart, over and over. I wouldn't call that stable. That's
I'm talking about USDC or True USD or some of these other actually stable coins because Bitcoin is not. Bitcoin just its value is greater full theory.
So I have a question for you, ELDM. You mentioned that some of these are tied to real world currencies, paper currencies, I guess we should say. As my understanding, one of the original uses of cryptocurrency is specifically to not be tied to such institutions. How does that work exactly? Please, I'm just not sure.
You're talking about the Satoshi sorry, could you rephrase that?
I'm sorry. It's something I'm not too familiar on, which is why I'm asking you for clarification.
Sorry, I have COVID, so
it's all right. It's all good. It's all good. I understand. But as I understood, and I may be wrong here, as I understood, one of the reasons that people really went hard into cryptocurrency initially is because it was not tied to real world currencies. It wasn't tied to any paper currencies. And so it wasn't subject to the same pressures that a real world currency would have. So when you mention these stable coins being tied to these currencies, how does that work? Like, how do they tie it? Yeah, what is the relationship between the crypto and the paper currency?
That is so important. That idea right there is probably going to see the next generation of crypto in the future. Is how do we get the traditional financial system to couple itself with this lawless, decentralized by nature system? And I think what these stablecoins provide for Bitcoin is it provides a lot of backbone for Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is really its own deal and people are just assigning its value to assign it. But I think with USDC, which is backed by Coinbase, I think it allows crypto to really be used for its purpose of being as frictionless payment system as possible. Sorry, I guess the best way to answer that is that the stable coins provide a way to more easily allow transactions between Bitcoin, other currencies, or whatever.
So it's like a middleman, basically.
Yeah, middleman, absolutely.
There's an added fee, by the way, with basically all of those middleman transactions that can see you losing a lot of your value in the interim, just by the way. And what's going to happen is it's not going to be that there's this coupling of this decentralized currency with the, traditional financial market. One of those systems is going to subsume the other, and it's going to be that Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies and all that gets centralized and gets subsumed into the larger financial market. I can tell you that right now. But one thing I'm still curious about, right? And a question that has not been answered yet is, so we never answered, what is the recourse for people who get fucked over in these pump and dump schemes, which is quite common?
Fuck them.
Well, that's part of the reason.
Hold on, sorry.
We send out the IRS to send them.
I want to hear what you have to say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't. Sorry. I don't think. As I also don't want to interrupt everyone because you guys have been very nice. This is my first panel.
We interrupt people all the fucking time. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
I'll do it right now.
Sorry. What was the question? What was stated?
What is the recourse for these people who are victims of pump and dump schemes that are incredibly common in the crypto market?
Do not invest in anything that is not a coin. If it is not,
no. I'm not telling them. I don't want the answer of like just don't do it. I want to know. We're already assuming you've stepped in the shit. How do you clean it off?
I would file a report to the FTC regarding a token or coin that you've bought, and you believe that there is the
Fair Trade Commission.
Yes, and there's actually
a centralized body.
Yeah,
that you guys want to partition away from.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you would file to them, and hopefully they would give you some consumer. Although there's no consumer protection in the ecosystem, right? I'm not saying you should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
so.
But just real quick, I want to really emphasize that there is no current user protection in this system right now.
Yes.
And so, recourse legally do people have for these pump and dump? Not very much, especially because a lot of these
they literally have no protection at all. They don't have any protection whatsoever.
It's a casino.
They have these.
Not a casino.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I won't go into.
Wants to call it.
But yes, exactly, and that's why these scams are so effective, because there's no real way for the abusers in this case to be prosecuted or to be punished, not in any real sense. And it's free money, basically. They're making free money off the backs of ignorance.
Ice Poseidon said it perfectly. The quickest way to make money right now is to start a crypto, convince everybody that it's a solid investment. And then once people invested into it, divest all the money out of it. And that's what happened with CX Coin. That's exactly what happened with CX Coin.
I was gonna bring Ice Poseidon up earlier, but I wanted to read through it to make sure I knew everything.
Could you state it again? I missed part of that.
So Ice Poseidon, he made a coin, a cryptocurrency called CX Coin. He made a bunch of he had, obviously with a Twitch streamer, he had a bunch of fans that followed him, and he convinced the fans that the cryptocurrency is going to be a solid currency to invest into. He made a lot of his fans invested into it, and he divested over $300,000 into the coin, making it tank, and having the people lose all their money because of it. And he's like, okay, whatever. They can't really do anything about it. They have no recourse for it, so whatever, fuck them.
He also did one thing that didn't help at all. He put what I think it was 140 something into it to try to get people back their money, but it wasn't even enough to fucking cover it. So basically, he just made off.
He made off with $300,000 just off of his stuff, and
there's countless examples of this.
Yeah, there's countless examples of this exact stuff going on with crypto. I've been a long proponent, even though I got into Bitcoin at its infancy. I've been a long proponent of just not investing into crypto at all. I feel I just don't like investing into volatile currency, and from my experience, every single aspect of cryptocurrency, be it Bitcoin or whatever, has been super volatile. So I just don't get into it.
See, my brother-in-law, and he wants me to do this too, is he invests $10 every month into it, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. Because I'm just not trusting of it.
And also my experience with it is a lot of people telling you to invest into Bitcoin or into cryptocurrency.
Yo, what's good, Redneck?
Have huge investments
into
into
Redneck.
Huge investments into cryptocurrency already. So
Speaking of the devil,
what is
so
the
I think crypto in and of itself is just a huge pyramid scheme.
And before we do that, invest in this channel by subbing or gifting bits or gifting subs. How about this community? Because we're about to give you some content here.
It's about to get messy.
I can guarantee you. But if
Why
you
do y'all think that Redneck is a cool guy? Like, I really don't know what y'all getting on.
I will compliment. He has a nice beard.
Oh my god.
I've had so many good conversations with him.
Gift bits or gift subs.
I just hear a bunch of crackers over talking
my
me.
god.
I can't stand it.
If you want, shut up. This is the important part. Is the money part. Because if you want to see more of this, right, more of this content, then help us out. We need your help to always keep going. All right. So Kaylee Marie was so kind as to gift 300 bits. Thank you, Kaylee Marie. But yeah, help us out by subbing to the channel. You'll get after viewing, and you get access to our sub-only parts of our Discord, and you'll get our emotes. So consider investing in this community so that we can have these conversations on different topics all the time, and people on different sides show up. So really happy. Thank you, Eucharist, for the 300 bits, and we get another person in less than a minute. We can start ourselves a hype train, but still, thank you, Eucharist, for the other 300 bits. Much appreciated. Help us out a ton. Yeah, but if you want to start a hype train, subs to the channel, $5 is all it takes. $5 keeps us up and running. Or you can give bits like our friend there. You can resub too. Resub messages help. You can also give subs. We love gifted subs. They do a ton. Thank you, Nico, for helping us out and starting us up on a hype train. Thank you. We have 700 bits into that hype train. It's a start. And let's see if we can get to a level 2 hype train. So we're level 1. 23% done. Is it 77% left? Can we get to level 2 hype train? Thank you for your pocket change, only facts. It puts us at 24%, I guess, but much appreciated. We have 4.5%. 4.5 minutes left. 25% done. Can we get 2 hype trains? 75% left on the clock. Subs to the channel, help us out. Sub to the channel or gift bits or gift sub. If you have Amazon Prime/Prime Game, you can use that one free sub per month on any community. Make it this community. Throw us that sub. Goes a long way when you do that. So consider giving us that Prime sub, or just subbing directly to this community. We'd love to have you here. Thank you, only facts for more of your random pocket change. But I appreciate it. Let's see if we can get to a level 2 hype train. So yeah, 3.5 minutes on the clock, so we make that happen. We'll go to a Redneck, but I might interrupt you for
You should start the hype train after I speak, because that's when everybody gets inflamed and they want to get me paid off. You fuck around and always do this right when I join. You don't let me speak and then let them get pissed off and hyped. You understand? I am your content maker. When I come on this motherfucker, this is Black History Month, motherfuckers. Quit being racist and support this black man trying to bring this fucking content to you every night.
People love to boo the village idiot.
Hey, go ahead, Dr. K. Go ahead, say what you want to say. You get your takes are just as dumb. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, Redneck. Show us what's up. What
right, here we go.
Wrong about?
All right,
please.
so what's up with crypto? Here's the deal.
Redneck, by the way, has large investments in it.
Negative. You can think
why
what you
the fuck is it in your username, my dude?
What do you consider large?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh,
so he admits he's invested in it. Anyway.
No. Answer the question.
You said large. You said large, Dr. K.
Answer the question. What do you consider large?
I'll show you something large. Anyway.
Please,
let me see that shit.
My beard is large.
No. I want to hear the answer to this one.
Any amount of money that would annoy you if you were lost. It varies from person to person.
If you put $250 on a slot machine, hang on, bro. I got y'all. If you put $250 on a slot machine and hit 10 million, are you in it big, or are you just lucky? I mean, what are those type of perceptions for you? Because guess what?
Yeah, you are.
I don't want
lucky.
you to answer anything. I'm just being sarcastic now. You can mute your microphone. I'm gonna go ahead and shut you up for a few minutes. Listen, here's the deal. I've heard all of you guys. I heard all of you guys use the same example about what regulations are there. What's a way to protect somebody? Well, guess what? Decentralization is truly the open ledger of the world. We actually can see people rip them off. You can follow the money infinitely. Like you can see everywhere that everything goes. You don't need somebody to tell you got ripped off. And guess what? There's charities, there's real politicians, there's real people that own businesses that rip people off every fucking day, and we have governance. So don't give me this bullshit about it. Which don't give me this bullshit about crypto is some farce type of some extreme fiat. Okay, you have been living in a world where you've used crypto already. You use a card that has a cryptography and security mechanism to it that's secured by a pin. You don't even own that fucking money. Some bank owns that money. Yet you put it on a card and assume that you put it through a transaction and you're guaranteed for that money. I don't understand how there's a disconnect.
So when people use the term cryptocurrency, they're referring
to you next week. We have less than a minute left. Thank you. Only Facts for gifting 2 subs to the channel. Helps us out a ton. Thank you. 41 subs in total. 58% done. Is it 42% left? Can we get to a level 2 hype train? We have 30 seconds up on the clock. 30 seconds on the clock. Can we make it to a level 2 hype train? Subs to the channel. Give bits or give subs. If you have a resub, use a resub. That helps us out as well. Consider extending your sub. If you have a sub, you can send it into the future and get a discount when you do it. 3 months or 6 months, you get a discount. Use your Prime Gaming Amazon Prime sub, because that's 1 free sub per month. Use it on this community. I think we give you a lot of value out of that, right? Unlike NFTs. And then I'm sorry, cheap shot. But also gifting bits or gifting subs us out a 10 as well. Though thank you for the people who have given so far. Much appreciated. Thank you, Kaylee Murray, for another 100 bits. But it looks like we're not going to make it this time. I do appreciate the ones who were helping out and investing in this channel that always provides prize for individuals. Okay, go ahead. So Rick.
Yes, cryptography is existent in our cards and things like that. But when people use the term cryptocurrency, primarily what they're referring to is the blockchain specifically, which is a very specific type of crypto when it comes to things. And there are issues that have yet to be resolved with that. Yes, other people do bad things in the real world with the current more traditional financial systems that we have. But that does not make it okay for the unregulated NFT things we have in pump and dump scams, as Dr. K referred to. And so there is a real problem and a real issue that we need to resolve. Now, in and of itself, the infrastructure of a blockchain is not bad. It's not a bad thing. In fact, it can, as LDM was saying, it can do amazing things. And the infrastructure and the technology has some real world applications that are pretty cool.
It does.
Yeah. It does with
applications. I'm genuinely curious. Tell me about them.
Well,
it happens right now in shipping. It happens right now in Asia.
If I may.
I'm giving you the answers, Kay.
Well,
the answers on crypto.
LDM will be much more qualified to answer that, but I can only speak hypothetically.
I mean, right now it's used in like AWS shipping. That's
you accuse me of being in the market, and yet you won't take my answer. So,
but the zero sum stuff that I was talking about earlier about like foregoing 2-factor authentication using a blockchain to prove your identity to the website or the computer that you're trying to access to prove, and this is a way to work around to get around like hackers and keyloggers that way. You access a website and they're able to prove yourself and prove your identity without giving little to no information. So like like a digital fingerprint, as it were, that a person cannot gain access to unless they are actually you.
So it sounds like it has some niche applications, just not within a financial context, but like within a shipping context and a logging.
How is the trading of goods by shipping not a financial application?
You're like
Huge one.
Yeah, exactly. Like you for keeping track of shipments, not for being like, hey, this is $30 of goods.
Are you going to be this binary? Are you going to be this binary? Are you literally going to be this binary and say that a transaction of handing a good or a service off for a transaction is not a financial? Are you literally going to go that binary?
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying like this is the
You are
difference
saying
between
that.
an Excel spreadsheet tracking when a delivery is going to get here and like your
You don't
wallet
even,
full of
you don't even
$60
understand
bills.
protocols. You don't understand protocols. You don't understand blockchains. You don't understand the delivery. You don't understand the packet. You don't
Zig,
even
if I
understand
get
any of the
anything wrong,
mechanisms
call me
behind
out
it.
on it, okay?
I am calling you out. I'm telling you.
There's
I
two
trust Zig
really
to
cool
call me out on
things about this technology, and one is the idea of a supply chain can be used through the blockchain. So you can, for example, I did a project where if someone was a coffee bean manufacturer, you could track the process from the coffee bean getting made and farmed, and then the supplier gets it, then the retailer, then the customer, and you can track that all through the blockchain by using your public key and basically accepting that NFT, and then someone else can accept it, and you can see where provenance. Tracking a good, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the idea also, I do want to touch on what Zig Mover, that is a huge idea on your personal fingerprint online through the blockchain. So there's a chain called ICP. It was originally called Dfinity, and they have a protocol that is specifically for fingerprinting. That's pretty neat.
Well, isn't the whole thing about it though that you can tell every interaction that's ever happened, right? That's been on the blockchain. Why would I want my fingerprint on something like that?
You can not have your fingerprint on it, but you like by obfuscating the transactions. There's something called Tornado. I talked a little bit about it. But it sort of works.
Then we lose the transparency aspect of it.
But I mean, you can keep the transparency if you don't use Tornado. But if you use Tornado, you can obfuscate your transactions.
Okay,
there's also chains that are privacy.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't have this fingerprint shit and you can't have transparency at the same time. You can only have one or the other without enormous privacy violations.
I mean,
the stuff about the shipping stuff though, that's cool. It sounds like a great niche application for it. I just don't want this in fucking financial. I don't want this touching anybody's fucking wallets.
You can put whatever you want in the blockchain. The blockchain can be made. The code can be made to carry whatever information you want it to in a secure manner that is legible and on a ledger form for everybody to see. Now you could come in with a blank wallet. You could come in anonymous and send that currency or that token or that blockchain value
sounds great
to another
wallet.
On it. That's not. But what is money? Okay, what the fuck is money?
I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Do I have it on me? No, it's over there. Damn, I was gonna pull out a dollar bill for dramatic effect. But
but your dollar bill's only good. Yeah, but your dollar bill's only good in America right now.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do?
The state.
But
by
it's
what?
good
by
in all over. Dollar bills are good.
Dollar bills are good in all over the world.
I promise you can spend it outside of America.
So is crypto. So is crypto.
Well, the problem with crypto when it comes to things like NFTs, however, is that
you're just focusing on one. You're just focusing on the toenail.
That's the topic for today. The topic for today was NFTs.
That's the convo point. Like, what do you
want?
You
guys are shitting on crypto as a whole. No, Dr. K's shitting on crypto as a whole.
Yeah,
and if you're talking about NFTs,
only they are doing that. Only they are doing that.
Take it up with me if that's your issue.
I'm not doing that. I'm specifically trying to separate the infrastructure between.
My only argument against crypto is it's unstable, and that's me.
It goes up and goes down.
But, the technology behind it is interesting, and there's value. What the technology is currently being used for is harmful, and we need protections in place because yes. When it comes to personal responsibility, I agree with you. Just be careful. Don't invest into things like that if you have any question, any doubt in your mind. That said, there has to be a system in place to punish bad actors who are purposely taking advantage of ignorance and things like that. Or else, without this punishment in place, there is no incentive not to do it.
There are punishments in place, and it's happening daily. People are taking advantage of systems currently every day. Social security, welfare.
No, when it comes to NFTs.
Sounds like you're just pointing to other things, though.
What I'm saying is that if it exists for you here, it exists in crypto. There's no difference.
Economies of scale, though, my dear. Like 90% of this market is fucking scams. What do you want, mate?
Okay, I'll tell you what. Here's my take. follow the money. And all the billionaires are playing. I'm gonna slice me off. And if I'm just gonna nibble off a little bit, I'm gonna nibble off a little bit. And if it's a hustle, I'm gonna play the game. You sitting here saying that you don't agree with it because you don't understand the concept of a trade, a service, and a value.
Just fine.
Okay.
No, you don't understand it because you're all you're doing is shitting.
But your
So,
food.
hold on.
That's it.
First of
Your
all,
food. You're playing in a pond.
I would have
with your food.
I have a question. Is it wrong to be like wary of Bitcoin if you don't really understand it, or is that just like not being optimistic?
I would say educate yourself wholeheartedly for jumping in on crypto, and I'd also advise you to not throw anything in crypto that you're not willing to lose. The same way you're going to go gamble at the casino. That's it. That's where I stand on crypto.
hey, pause for a second. Pause for a second. Hey, Gunter, God, thank you for being here. If you could keep yourself on mute, we got some background noise coming from you. Yeah, sure. And we'd love to hear from you, though. All right, and thank you, Lilac Doll, also for coming through. All right, go ahead, Dr. K.
I still want to fucking answer. Because, like, pump and dump schemes are fucking rampant in this market.
They're rampant in the
Let
real
me finish
world
a
too.
fucking sentence, dipshit, right?
It's the same fucking answer, bitch. Fuck you.
Hey,
We've
whoa.
got yeah.
All right.
First off, we have protections.
No, hold on.
I missed this.
She's gonna call me a dip. She's gonna call me a dipshit. I'm
I
gonna
don't
call her
give a
bitch.
shit. I don't give a shit. Don't do it. No need to attack. Use gendered attacks against
Don't
anyone.
attack me first.
No, hey, no.
Bitch, okay,
You
hold
can
up.
attack
Bitch
the
is not a
person
gendered
back.
attack
We do
for
it
me.
all the time. We attack
Bitch
people
is
here.
not a gendered attack, and you know that. Bitch is not a gendered attack.
Knock it off. I'm telling you, that's the rule. If you can't live by that rule, you're gonna have to leave. So don't do it. All right, moving the fuck on. Go ahead, Dr. K. Finish your point.
In the normal financial markets, right? If there are pump and dump schemes going on Wall Street, they have protections for that. You can be audited, and the fucking FCC, the IRS, various other bodies can come after your ass. Pump and dump schemes on cryptocurrencies, you have absolutely no higher body you can turn to for protection. That is the entire problem with it being
They are still
a decentralized market. So you're appealing to a centralized organization to solve your decentralized problems.
No, there's still a crime. There's still a crime that's being committed on the blockchain. Even if you want to consider some of the countries have internet laws that prevent any kind of malicious intent or financial or any kind of things. It doesn't have to necessarily go through our. I think he earlier said the FCC or the FTC or Federal Trade Commission. Like you would have better luck going to the SEC, right? You'd want to go to the Security Exchange Commission if you want to talk about the centralized. The Federal Reserve, those other guys, they're trying to set policy right now with crypto. The crypto's the Wild West. I understand it, but you're not. The reason I'm not giving you a direct answer because you're not giving me the same answer for when we already have those securities in place. You have those centralization places, and yet you have big corporations doing rug pulls on everyday citizens or doing recalls, yet you don't get a refund. Only the lawyers get paid out. Like you're sitting here saying that this stuff doesn't happen
Yes, my dear,
today.
I hate big corporations too.
Do not even act like you're sitting here saying that it doesn't happen. You're acting
Yeah,
like it only
I'm
happens in
consistent.
crypto.
I hate both of these things that do the rug pulls, my friend. You seem to be hating one.
I'm saying
aggressively
How am I
simping for
aiding?
the other.
How am I aiding? How am I aiding when I'm in? I am in crypto, and I'm telling you that they happen. I say to educate yourself, and the fact that most of these guys that are doing rug pulls, because we have history now, you're starting to see code. Like people they're starting to be able to see the code that's attached to the blockchain or to the NFT or the project. They're able to say, oh yeah, these guys, they've rug pulled before. And you'll see tweets and you'll see across all the platforms, people warning, do not mint, do not do this. It's a rug pull. Like it happens. It's no different than getting rug pulled and buying an insurance scam or something like that.
For stepping in shit isn't like once you've stepped. You don't have any protections after they've stepped in the shit.
Redneck, right? What you're saying is obfuscating the actual point here. When you do inside trading in real life, for lack of a better term, in paper currency and things like that, there are institutions, and you will go to jail. You will face fines. You will face penalties, legal penalties, backed by whatever government that you live under. In the crypto world, yes, you're right that people will say, oh, yes, this is a scam, don't invest. And you face social pressure. But there are, as far as I know, very little in case of legal protections. Like if you engage in that behavior, you will not be prosecuted, you will not be fined, none of these things will happen to you. And so it's a safe way to engage in crimes, as you said, that just aren't regulated. There's no laws protecting them.
Again, if any way, as a very, very libertarian perspective, I love cryptocurrency because I truly believe it's the only way we're going to get out of the centralized world that we're in if we can keep it away from centralization. Because I would rather live in a Wild West scenario. I would rather live in a Wild West scenario and take my chances and educate myself than to sit here and allow the concept of, oh, you're going to be safe and this won't happen, because it happens every day. Low income Americans are taken advantage of with high interest rates every fucking day. Don't get me started on this bullshit. People have been taking advantage of us in regular fiat for fucking ever. And I would rather have a free trade and a fair chance to go to a casino and gamble my life away and get a chance to flip some switches and maybe flip a few JPEGs for people to give me some money, just like I'm doing something illegal on the streets. Except I'm not doing something illegal. I'm doing something that our government wants to tax me at 42% for. Why would they do that, Dr. K, if it isn't good for us? Why would they all want to centralize it if it wasn't meant for us at the bottom to be able to get the fuck out of the bottom by finding value in each other and not have taxation on every goddamn transaction?
You're pyramid scheming your way to the
rather,
top.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Lilac.
I would rather.
Yes, we know your ideals.
Sure. Lilac, I want to give it a try.
I have a question. So we're very concerned about these pump and dump schemes, and I don't think that there's a viable solution, but I think there's something bigger than that, because what I want to know is, why are we going to, because, okay, you can't have crypto without having the volatility and the lack of regulation, because the decentralization is the point. So when someone lives in a country where their currency of their country, that's fiat, tanks, why should we take away their potential to potentially, either have things go really well or really poorly for them based on a country? International trading is really the only long-term solution that crypto solves in a way that isn't going to be replaced. So if I'm in a country like Venezuela, a pump and dump scheme isn't the biggest of my concerns. My concern is the fiat currency of the place that I live isn't providing me security. So I'm not being offered security through my local currency. Crypto doesn't offer it either. They're the same evil. It's not worse in that situation.
Well, it sounds like
you're not
shouldn't
protecting
base your
people.
economy off oil, and you shouldn't be sanctioning the shit out of a country.
I guess my question for I'm sorry, Lilac, is that your name?
Yeah.
My question for you then was, do you think there's any because you mentioned, why take away these people's ability to invest into Bitcoin when their fiat currency of their country is unstable? And I understand that. I'm not trying to take away anyone's ability to invest in these things. If Redneck wants to spend his money, okay. That's not my deal, is not on the spender or the buyer's side. My question is for you is, do you think that there is any value to regulating the seller side of the economy when it comes to cryptos?
I don't think there's an effective way to regulate it. I don't think that there's a way to regulate it in a way that protects people adequately for the resources we'd have to put in.
Okay. I don't honestly, I'm not familiar enough with the technology to say either way on that, to be very honest with you. So fair enough. But I think without trying,
the fact that you can see it, right? The fact that it's in a ledger that we can all see, right? On Etherscan, for instance, or let's just use Ethereum. On Etherscan, if there's a compromised wallet or somebody that's scammed some people in the past that's been proven by multiple people, it's marked. It's got a red flag. So any transaction from that point forward, everybody knows. They can see it. That's what I'm trying to say. There's literally more openness.
It's all written down in a textbook. That'll never stop anyone.
And again, that only works after the fact. That's only an after the fact thing. If I started one today, and if I wanted to make the PrimeCayes NFT and put all your little pictures in an NFT and sell it to people, and then we could sell it between ourselves and gen up perceived value, and then I divest from it. Okay. After I've made my 300,000 as whatever his name is made, after I have my money and I've done the crime, then people can say, oh, well, you shouldn't do business. But I don't care anymore. I have the money I want.
You're
I've
whining
done
about somebody
it.
being
I
immoral.
don't care anymore. I don't give a shit.
You're whining about somebody being immoral. Like it happens in life. I don't understand why you're putting.
I understand I'm not blaming crypto. I'm asking for, this is my point here. My whole point is I'm asking for, if it is possible, and it very well may not be. There may not be a viable technological solution right now that we have, but we should work towards one to be able to prosecute and to prevent, not just after the fact, but before the fact, and give legal protections to people who are trying to do monetary exchanges via this new technology.
If you ask for that,
we have to use that as our goal.
Let me get up in here real quick.
Go.
Pretty much agree with Redneck on this one, because it's like we do a lot of things in America, that do have high interest rates that are unfair and whatnot. And it seems like once a lot of people from the bottom start coming up and figure out a little scheme in the system, then all of a sudden it's a problem.
No, we need to fix our fucking financial sector.
Yeah,
then, huh?
I will say this. We have paydays. We have payday loan centers that have ridiculously high interest rates, but that's a scam, though, right? Like that's a problem, but we shouldn't add another problem to it. Right? Like if one's an issue, and I agree it is. In fact, we talked about payday loan centers here before. Then that doesn't mean we should add something else that also is a scam, that also doesn't provide protections. It also takes advantage of people. Of
Prime.
Prime. Let's let our new guy Goon. Let's let Goon talk, please.
Well, yeah, man. On this topic right here, that has a lot to do with things like morals and whatnot. And as an American, I don't really see no issue with coming up with a way to feed your family or to provide for your home. There's a lot of unfair things if you want to be a moralist or whatnot, and be like, this is right, this is wrong. You can say that about a lot of things, in life, but once you find like some way to provide an opportunity for yourself, something that's not.
I have a question.
Anybody, it might hurt
them. Goon, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Yeah, just real quick. So when you say things like that, I understand the concept. Like if you need to steal bread to feed your family, okay. But what we're talking about isn't just the need to survive. What we're talking about is people, generally people who are pretty well off, taking advantage of the less educated, the less interested. And what it is do you think that it's okay?
Where do you get that perception?
No.
Seriously.
I want to focus in on this before we move on. Don't worry, we'll get back to you. Finish your point, Wick. At what point does doing harm to others in order to protect yourself or feed your family or whatever, do you have a limit on that? Is there a point where you say, no, I would not do that?
Look, bro, I'm a vegan. But me personally, I will still sell meat to people. Even though I personally think that hurts people, I'll still sell them the meat because if there's a profit margin in there. I'm not a moralist.
Would you beat someone up?
Like, I understand our history.
You have morals.
So we have.
He's a capitalist.
Would you beat someone up for money? Yes. Okay.
No,
I'm just trying to.
Physical harm. That causes physical
economic harm can be much more devastating than physical harm. You can. Yes,
so if you're a vegan,
you can steal a house, right? You can throw someone out of a house, one individual house, right? But like a bank can clear a neighborhood out, right? Economic harm is violence. Economic violence is a thing, and it can be far more devastating than physical violence.
One thing is not. So I will scheme legally anytime, because like I just see that as an American value. I just see that as like a human value, If you don't want to live in.
Disagree.
I don't know. Like I'm not a big
100%.
Hold on. I'm not a big. person on morals and whatnot, you know.
Yeah, I mean, so it
You
sounds
know,
like
I
you're.
grew
It
up in a
sounds.
poor neighborhood.
So what it sounds
know,
like is you're
you
okay
know,
with just
but
theft, out and out theft. It's like not a big deal, right? It doesn't really hurt. So robbing someone over there,
can say
if economic
that about
violence isn't the
anything,
problem,
right?
then taking someone's wallet is not a problem, right? Just like taking it out of their out of the back pant, right?
Hey, dude, there's legal ways to steal and there's illegal ways to steal.
Yeah, but they're both
Usually
bad.
the illegal ways to steal are. I'm not a moral person.
So no, don't dodge the question.
Don't
let's
have morals.
I'm very curious. So are you
You
saying
just walk up
that?
to a dude and go yoink.
Shut up. Yeah. I just I want to get this, guys. So Goon, you're saying that it's perfectly fine to steal money, right? Steal a wallet. Just that's okay.
No, because I guess the perception of that, you know, like
No
the,
perception. What
do
does the
y'all
perception
call that?
matter?
Like the because we don't see that in our today's society as something that's legally right, but we'll
that's
let
a moral.
the bank steal money from us. We'll let the bank steal from us. And,
No.
you know,
We
that
don't
will
want
be
that
legal.
either.
But
We don't
if
want that
somebody-
either. But we don't want
It
that either.
happens, Prime. But it happens. It's
So?
I mean, like we can't.
Yes,
get
and
rid
it's
of it.
bad
It's
that it
like-
happens.
Yeah, it's a
There's
bad.
a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
a
things that
terrible
are
thing.
bad.
Usury rates at a payday loan center are bad. That's robbing from people who can't afford it, right? That's a bad thing. But also stealing money from a person's wallet is a bad thing. But also running a blockchain scam is bad. Those things, they're all stealing money. It's just on different scales, different frequencies.
One's legal and one's illegal, Prime.
So, but you don't care about morals. But you already said you don't care about morals. Why do you even care about laws, right? So, like, you'll only stop.
I don't want to end up in jail. I still have bills to pay.
Okay,
This is why regulating the blockchain is important, because there is exactly. This is a prime example. Of someone who, because it's not illegal, he is willing to engage in these practices. But if it were to have, this isn't an analogy, this is real life. This is what we just saw happen. But if there were legal ramifications to it, if there was a legal punishment, someone's Goon, is that your name? I'm sorry, Goon. Nice to meet you, Goon, by the way. And I'm sorry for making you example of this, but you're the example of this. You just said because it is not illegal, you would be willing to engage in this practice. But if it were to become illegal, you would no longer want to engage in it because of the ramifications. This is called I'm blanking on the word right now.
Morality on a blockchain, and I'm trying to tell you that morality has to come out of this.
Yeah, no. But morality absolutely has to come into it. Holy crap! Sorry, hold on. No, hold on. One second. I got to get this point out because this point is very important. That our friend Wick was trying to say, right? Like we have it. This is exactly what we're talking about. Because a blockchain, right, doesn't actually provide you with any user protections. Zero, right? We have a person here who just admitted that, yes, I will use that to steal from others. I don't care because it just happens to not be illegal now. That's an okay thing. And in capitalism, yeah, it's going to fucking happen. Well, and not even capitalism, anywhere, right? If you just allow people to steal, then they're just going to steal. This is exactly what we're talking about. Criminals abound.
Wait. Hold on, hang on. What the fuck is happening in CVS's and Walgreens in fucking San Francisco and across California? People are just walking the fuck in and able to walk out with $1,000 worth of goods and not pay for it.
Yeah, that's wrong too. That's wrong too. This is not a got you.
No, because they need it. They need it.
This is not a got you. That's wrong.
Y'all are so full of shit.
Wrong. And this is wrong. Like this dude's talking about rampant theft, and that's
isn't
okay.
The conservative? Isn't the conservative line? And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the conservative line? It's because they put the legal punishments for these smash and grabs. Because the legal punishments for these smash and grabs were lessened. That is increased the activities of these smash and grabs. Isn't that the conservative line?
What
So
I'm trying to get to is
what's
you
the
guys are only
difference?
focusing on you're only focusing on one fucking thing, a rug pull. And I'm trying to say to you
No.
that it doesn't matter that a rug pull happens on the blockchain
No.
because guess what? We get rug pulled in real life.
No, that
People
doesn't.
steal from
Why,
each
why
other
are
in
you doing
real
this too?
life.
No. He's talking
Dumbass
about
Because
whataboutism.
what I'm
What do you
what
got? Like this whataboutism? Like you can keep trying it, right?
Because
You
I'm-
and Goon
you're-
can keep trying it, but it's not
here's-
going to work. You can't
I'm
say,
gonna
well,
say it like
this is.
Let me make
I
it
know,
real simple for you.
Hold on.
Let me make it real simple, then I'll bounce.
No, hold on. Shut up.
And then I'll bounce,
No.
and then I'm out.
No, hold on. You keep saying that like this is a crime and it's not being punished, and so let me do this crime as well.
I'm not saying
Whataboutism
let
does
you
not
do a
work
crime.
here. You are
I'm
hurting
saying
individuals. You are hurting individuals, and that
Guess
is
what,
the problem, right? You're just like, oh well, yes, there's other crimes exist, right? And since we haven't perfectly prosecuted every other crime, then why can't I do this crime? Why can't I be a fucking criminal too? Like this is disgusting. Like this is
Again,
Like
I've
this,
said
I come
fucking
up
10
in
times.
society like how everybody
I've
else
said it
has.
again.
That's the only thing
Can
I'm
I help?
saying. I don't want to exclude myself to
from being a criminal. From being a criminal.
Look.
That's
You
how.
keep putting
If you want to say that,
Yeah,
then,
because
then sure.
you're saying you're advocating for
Sure.
criminality. Yeah, I will say that.
Hang on.
I
Let
mean,
me
no,
you
sorry,
can
Reddit,
make
hold
up
on.
off of criminality if you want to put it like that, but they do it legally.
Yeah,
So,
criminal's the
we
wrong
get
word to
that.
use.
That's
We
more
get
Criminal's
that.
wrong
It
word to
doesn't
use.
matter.
What do you
I don't
want
know why
from
you
it?
keep bringing that up.
I
don't know why you
understand
keep
it's
bringing that
moral
up
stuff
because
at
it
all.
literally does not matter. I'm saying that your behavior, the behavior you're advocating for anyway, I don't know if you've actually done anything, but the behavior you're advocating for is criminal behavior. When you're stealing, right, that's criminal behavior. That's what you are advocating for.
Okay,
It's
can I finish
not
this?
to be
Can I finish
pedantic,
my
but it's
point
not
before
it's
you
not
guys
criminal
just
because
sit
it's
here and
not
take it all the
illegal.
way
Go
down?
ahead. Finish your point.
I just need 2 minutes and I'm out. I'm gonna literally drop the mic and walk out of this thing. The bottom line is this: either you agree that cryptocurrency is for the people, for everyone equally, because it doesn't have a taxation, it doesn't have a centralized bank, it doesn't have any kind of authority that can regulate what you buy and how you buy it. You are completely free to put value into something. Yes, you can sit there and help a homeless person, or you can build your own community. You can literally fund yourself. Yes, off this technology and off this community. And I don't care how we get there, but when you talk to me about centralization and putting big government and putting high taxes and taking it away, that opportunity away from the low income Americans and low income countries who definitely have already showed progress by accepting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as their currency. The more you guys want to sit here, the more that you want to sit there is the more I hear of a white fucking progressive world trying to prevent people of color and other minority classes and cultures of coming from the bottom and getting the fuck out of this crap
Except
they got.
that
No one's
crypto
advocating for what you're
is
saying.
infested by
Facts,
white
bro.
nationalists.
Facts, bro.
Yeah, you're
No-
right
no one's
away,
advocating.
But crypto is literally the whole crypto scheme is affected by white nationalists, right? White nationalists are the ones heading up crypto at this moment. Like the fuck?
No,
yeah,
no.
it actually is. Yeah,
No
it
one's-
actually is. You can
But
actually
I wanna
look
be
into
very-
people pushing crypto. These people have been pushing white
Ron,
nationalism
so what
from the
about,
beginning, but it literally doesn't matter. Again,
about,
you're pushing criminality.
El Salvador, right?
I want to be
Like,
very clear.
It's developers that have been pushing it from the beginning, Prime.
Yeah,
No one's
advocating.
advocating.
That's correct.
People who have white nationalist
No
sympathies.
more so than the rest of
No one
America. I
here
don't
is
think this
advocating
Hold on,
for
well-
cryptocurrency to be prevented from being sold or traded or dealt with. No one's advocating for the blockchain to go away. What we're advocating for, what I'm advocating for, I won't speak for anyone else. What I'm advocating for is some common sense regulations that will prevent or at least reduce the amount of you got me using this wrong word here, of harmful behavior that is being
Criminality.
engaged in these spaces where there are no laws that currently exist that prevent it.
It's
So what we
criminality.
need to do as a society is to create some sort of system to punish bad actors and prevent them, or try to prevent them as best we can. We can't do it 100%, but try to provide some recourse for people who get stolen from. Why is that wrong? Why is
you
that
can
wrong?
have this. You can have this type of regulation.
Banks first. Like, why can't we go after the people who are actually making, like a huge profit?
We could do
We have
both.
so many other people
You
to.
can do
We can do
But
both.
why go after the poor people?
No, we're not.
Like,
You're not
why?
going.
No,
The
we're
poor
not
people
going
aren't
after poor
making
people,
money on
bro.
this. Well, we haven't. there are individuals who might have struck it big, but by and large, people are not simply getting massively
Everybody
wealthier.
doesn't win the lottery, but people are putting money
June,
into it.
June, we're not going
There's
going
only a
after poor
select
people.
few that win. You know,
June.
it's a gamble. I personally don't gamble at all because I'm a sore loser. But I mean, like, it's a gamble. Like, it's a gamble. You can come up off of it or you can't. Like,
every investment is.
I mean, I want ways to punish people who fuck people over. What I have trouble with is I don't think crypto is ever going to go away because you can't prevent somebody from making a coin. And whenever you start to regulate one coin, it's just going to evolve into something else. And you're say, okay, we'll regulate all of them the same way. But then people are just going to evade the regulations. Like, I just don't see a feasible way to handle this problem.
I don't understand.
Now, I will say this. I understand that you don't see it.
I don't understand. Why can't, like, we do this all the time? It's like, well, why make laws for murder? People are still going to try to evade. If they're going to want to kill someone, then they're going to try to evade those laws. That's like literally for every regulation, every law we ever had.
Yes, actually, what's really interesting about the FTC is that I talked to someone. They said that if you want to make a new project, and you don't want to be under FTC regulation, then just switch jurisdiction to another country. And that's a big thing that people are doing to just get out from the FTC. And another thing is, I think Ethereum has something called sidechains, where actually if there's a fraud that happens on the sidechain, you can go to the Supreme Court, which is like the main Ethereum mainnet, and get everything like changed on that sidechain. So you can roll back technically some stuff.
Everyone's interactions on that sidechain getting rolled back.
Well,
that's not user friendly at all. That's unbelievably cumbersome. What?
But no. I was just going to use this. I'm going to leave. Thank you for having me on. I just want to kind of get in and talk about crypto. I really enjoy talking about it. Thank you, everybody.
It's nice to meet you.
Come back in the future. We'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Imagine someone gives you here. I've been shut up for a while. I'm going to take the stage for a bit. Okay, Wick. Thank you. Imagine someone like gives you a fucking fraud dollar bill, right? And it's been spent like 10 times, and like some guy comes up to you and he's like, well, it was a fraud dollar bill, so now you got to return all the groceries you bought on that money. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, you have to roll back every transaction when something like that happens. That is not a fucking feasible way to be doing interactions and rolling back shit. And you have to petition the Supreme Court of this fucking sidechain to do it, and they don't have to accept that, by the way. They can just say and just tell you to go fuck yourself. And by the way, this is something I wanted to hammer back on, because I've been shut up for this for a while, is this myth that poor people are fucking making it big off crypto, right? The vast majority of people who are hauling in big profits from crypto were already wealthy coming into it. It's really fucking obvious when you think about it, right? For the first wave where a lot of my voice is going, where a lot of like early crypto people got their break was during the proof of work, original Bitcoin wave, right? That's where a lot of the people who are heading up these newer projects, got their wealth. And a lot of the people who got their wealth from that wave were wealthy beforehand, because in order to get money on proof of stake, right, you had to solve the equation, right? And it was the people who could afford the better machines that could solve the problem faster that kept getting the reward. And so, like, most of the people who are incredibly rich off crypto right now were people who were in Wall Street and in hedge funds beforehand and were already wealthy coming into it. Like, it's not the majority of people getting big off crypto, it's no more so than any other investment.
I also want to say to Lilac's point, that they cannot imagine a way to combat this or a way to effectively prevent these types of things from happening. I can't either. I'm not smart enough. However, I believe just because I can't imagine a way right now, that does not mean that we cannot create one in the future, or a smarter mind than me will create one in the future. And I think that should be our goal. That should be what we move towards. Because Dr. K, again, I hate to say this, is right in this case, in that... I
always am.
That's another topic. But we have to, like, the people who are coming in now aren't the ones really making money. The people coming in the bottom of the pyramid, so to speak, they're the ones that are going to lose money. They're the ones that are going to be left holding the bag. And it's happening right now with these pump and dump schemes with NFTs. But there's going to be other types of scams using the blockchain that will engage this type of predatory behavior because there are no laws that prevent it. And as we saw on this panel, if we have some sort of laws, I don't know how to do this, I'm not smart enough, but if we have some sort of laws or system in place that will create a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're retreading ground that we've kind of.
Well, fair. I just want to
He-
hammer it. I just
he
want
didn't say
to
it.
make sure everyone
Fair
understands.
enough. Thank you, Prime. There is
like, I
one
just
more
want y'all
thing
to
I want to hit on, though.
understand.
And I want to push back on something Redneck said, and I know he's not here, but other crypto people push on this too, right? And so I really want to hit on this as well. Is this idea that it's the people's currency, that it's some great equalizer, right? But the thing is it, I've proven now, right, that it isn't. It's often old money coming into this new market that's getting wealthy off of it. And so if you want to grow wealth within your community and create like wealth for the people, what you should be doing, and what has been proven historically to work, is localized banking and community run banks. Those are the things that fucking raise wealth in a community. When your dollar has a lot of like spinning around in your own community, if it has a lot of health in your own community, that's what builds up poorer communities. That's what creates wealth in impoverished areas. It's not this fucking shit because it's all about like where it's spent and where the money lives.
It immediately leaves the community. Yeah.
Dr. K.
Yeah. Go ahead. Goon.
I'm not done. If it lives in this
Okay.
cloud, right? If it lives in this digital cloud, that means that the money goes to whoever pulls it out of that digital cloud, right? If it's someone who's wealthy and living in New York, that means that the money you invested, if you say lived in a poor town in Utah, whatever, right? And you put the money into that and then it pulls out by a wealthy guy in New York, that means that the money has left your town in Utah and is in New York now, right? If you have the money live within your community multiple times, though, that builds up wealth in that community because that means that things are being produced there and financial transaction and wealth is sort of circulating within that area. That's what builds wealth. If a dollar leaves a community, that is money leaving a community. You want to prevent that at all costs. And crypto is great at accelerating that process, if anything, because it fucking expands the possibility of this to a global scope. Like, it's not good if you're trying to build wealth for the impoverished. It's terrible for it.
Yeah, I would agree, definitely.
Dr. K, Dr. K, and Prime and Wick, and to the rest of y'all guys. I do want y'all to understand, that there does need to eventually, be regulations and whatnot on this, but I just want y'all to understand, I grew up like impoverished or whatever, and just like I'm sure a lot of y'all have on this panel, but
yes,
we're always looking for a come up. You're always looking for a way out, and you just need that one chance to come up. The rest of these people, of course, are going to be making more money because they're investing more money into it. More money creates more money. So somebody like me or somebody like somebody else needs to do is just that one come up, and
yes.
that one come up can change somebody's life for generations and generations.
Yes,
hold on, Dr. K, hold on, Dr. K, hold on.
What?
I don't care, stop. But I hear you, right? I hear you. And if you want to if you're talking about simply investing in cryptocurrencies, and maybe the coin you pick ends up skyrocketing for some reason, another billionaire says, hey, maybe this is not a bad idea, right? And then you just happen to be on that right one, and then your gamble worked out, and then you can cash out. Okay, great.
Same as a stock market.
Then I'm fine with that. That's fantastic. However, if you're talking about pulling a fucking scam on people, right? You're saying, if I hit it here, right, through any way that I can, then it could change my family's it could change the entire trajectory of my family, right? That's great. Except that you would also be robbing money from others, and you could be destroying their families, right? You could actually change their trajectory to downwards, right? You could actually ruin them because that's how economic violence works, right? Stealing their money, stealing their assets means that they are impoverished, right? So you are doing the exact same thing. Why would you want to continue that cycle? There's
Exactly.
It's like, look, like you're always gonna have what do you call it? You're always gonna have some like type of what do you call it? Like a recoil from it. You know, like there's gonna be a few here and there, but it's like that's why I'm not like a moralist like that. You know, because it's like, you know, you could like you might screw over a few people on your way up, but you coming up, you could build up so many more people around you.
Why? By robbing others.
No. The point is the way we get out of this. The way we get out of this is solidarity. We get out of this by working together, right? And pulling each other up instead of stepping on
solidarity.
Yes, there fucking is. Yes, it is. You can.
So
you
everybody
can
has a
completely
one-track
do
mind.
that. You unionize your workplace. That's solidarity. You keep money within your community. That's solidarity. You make sure that everyone is well fed and well clothed and well electrified so that they can improve themselves. That's solidarity.
Don't electrocute people.
You don't need like complete solidarity to actually accomplish this, to raise all boats, right? Like you could just have fair rules of the road. You can have regulations, for instance, in the banking industry, to keep them from selling people subprime loans, and then erasing the wealth of a generation of an ethnicity, right? Like you can just do that, right? Instead of banks selling faulty assets, right, to African Americans, which is what they did, and then them losing their houses when the financial crash happened, you could have just had regulations to keep that from happening, right? You could have made that illegal because that was bad too, right? That should not have happened. I don't want to exchange that for a different kind of fraud, for a different kind of harm in the future.
There's always going to be harm. You're right. There's always going to be bad actors. There's always going to be people in place that run scams. But that does not divest us from the need to try to prevent what we can. And that's the key word there, what we can. We will not be able to prevent all these things. And in fact, when it comes to blockchain and cryptocurrency, as Lilac has noted, there might not be much we can do. But we should at least strive and try. And we should not excuse people who engage in this behavior. We should hold them to account to the best of our ability, and that means right now is social condemnation. And as Redneck alluded to, people will point out the scams and flag them. And as EDLM said, there's in the Ethereum, you can go to the Supreme Court or whatever it's called. I'm not sure, but what bothers me is so many people are just acting as if this is a problem, we can't currently solve it, so we should just give up, or B, this isn't really a problem, it's just people, it's a Wild West, anything goes, and that's okay. When people are losing a lot amount of money, and it's the poor people, it's the people who are ignorant, it's the people who haven't been educated in this, they're the fish, they're getting eaten by the sharks, and that's the only way this scam works, is if there are people who are uneducated who invest in these things who don't know that they're buying nothing. They're buying a position in line. They're not buying any assets. They're not buying any tangible, holdable resource. What they're buying is a position in a blockchain that has no inherent value. And the only value it has is the value that is placed upon it. And that's why people are incentivized to drum up these NFTs like they're the next big thing. Because it's all speculative market. That's all it is.
So I have a curiosity in the direction of I think we should try to fix these problems, and I really appreciate what Dr. K had to say about solidarity, and Wick, what you've got to say about actually making efforts to make things better, because if we're not doing that, what are we doing? I have a curiosity towards how do we prove that a creator of a pump and dump scheme had a criminal mindset? How do we prove intent? How do we create ways to codify?
Does intent matter in this case?
I would think if we're going to say somebody is defrauding someone by intentionally selling them a bad coin or intentionally hyping up a coin that they're then going to dump and engaging in insider trading, we need ways to clearly say that they did this knowingly and intentionally, and not that they had something that they tried to do that was experimental that failed. Like with Ponzi schemes, like we know what a Ponzi
There's
scheme
no
is,
way of
and
telling
we've
that.
codified that because it's already happened, and we've been able to say, okay, these were the specific measurable characteristics of it. And I'm just curious, if you were trying to like make up a graph of these are the specific measurable characteristics, do you think that we'll be able to make a sufficient, like enough of one to get to like a place? Like it's a genuine curiosity. Like I think
I
we
just
could maybe
I
get
just
there.
don't think it's necessary to prove intent here. I think that if you engage in acts that will have, and we know will have the effect of creating a pump and dump scheme, like I'll give you a very, and this isn't a perfect example. It's late at night. Excuse me if I'm not exactly clear here. But if I go and I stab someone 20 times, it doesn't matter if I wanted to kill them or not. I put my knife in them a lot, and they're gonna die. My intent, it doesn't matter, and we shouldn't. It really, in the end of things, if you create a scheme that has whatever signifiers that we decide are characteristic of a pump and dump, whether you intended to or not, you should be held liable. Now, obviously, in the criminal justice system that we have in America, if you didn't know, or you didn't intend to, you'll get a lesser sentence. But manslaughter is still a crime. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? I'm sorry it's late, so I might not. So
Yeah, no, I totally I get what you're saying, and I agree. Like the manslaughter was exactly kind of what I was thinking when you brought up the knife. But I guess I'm really interested in the mechanics. Like if we figure out if like I wouldn't be surprised if certain chunks of code are specifically outright. I don't know if we could say outlawed. Like maybe if you engage in buying coins that have these specific provisions, then you are not protected under the safety of the law. But I mean, even then, I guess it's not really a solution because I'm just trying to think of what the measurable things would be that we could use to characterize an excessively risky investment. Perhaps would be a good way to put it.
To be very honest with you, I don't know. In the crypto world, I do not know what those signifiers are. So it's maybe not a satisfying answer.
I
but
would like it gone.
Yeah. I don't know. This is Dan. You got something?
Big goober.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, you were muted. Go ahead.
Much of what I very much came to the opinion of like from reading other people's books, opinions on it. Those who are experts, probably it's probably one of the best was like the 50-foot chain block by I don't remember the guy's name, but I'll post it later on the Twitch. And what it seems to come with is that this thing, like with blockchains, the more a transaction happens, the bigger the blockchain, and eventually, like a pyramid scheme, it eventually gets so long that it's too much math for it to work, and which then will make it kind of worthless eventually by the time it would due to the sheer amount of time it takes for a transaction. So I find much of this belief through crypto to be very much as everyone else says, a scheme of sorts, and very much based off of believing that they want to have their own freedom without any influence by the government, which is very much a libertarian ideal that I will never end. And so that's what my opinion on it is.
So I just see NFTs as another scheme or pyramid scheme or like a MLM or something like that. Me personally, I don't have a problem with those, at all. But I would love to like debate y'all or talk to y'all like about morals or whatnot, because I'm not understanding how y'all are differentiating.
Okay, I'll bite. I'll bite on this. So, do you not think that
choosing in between like what's like morally righteous? Because I'm pretty sure there's things that y'all do that screw over the next man next to y'all, you know,
Sure.
like in y'all's
I'm
room.
not
You know?
perfect.
So, okay, okay, that's cool that you try, but the reality is that you do.
But okay, let me ask you this, Goon.
Yeah,
Do you
I
not
mean,
think
there's
that
no
there is
ethical
a
consumption
ahead,
under
Vic.
capital.
do you not think that there's a value in the government having the ability to put some common rules in place, and we can debate what those rules are, but saying that if you do harm someone, that you will be punished for it. Do you not think there's a value in that?
Usually, the government puts rules in place once they've already came up to a certain position, and then
Sure,
they're
they're
like, okay,
reactive. Yeah, I get that.
we gotta stop, you know, these other people at the bottom from coming up, or else, you know, if there's too many people at the, you know, like if everybody's making money, then, you know, like there has to be, you know, consumers and you know, like the people who are actually, you know, producing and whatnot, you know. So
I
it's
get
like I just see like government regulations as, you know, once they start seeing, you know, like the lower class come up, then it's like, oh, okay, now we got to put these regulations in, but it sure wasn't a problem back then, you know, like when they were doing it, like to come up, you know.
Okay, I think you're ascribing too much malice or too much intent on the government's part here. The issue isn't that they see, oh, the poor people are making money, so we have to stop them. The issue is the people in the government, the people in charge of making laws, they didn't understand it. They probably still don't. It's a very new technology. It's a very new thing, and it's very, very hard to prevent something that has never happened before because you just don't have any conceptual basis to try to prevent it. Like, it's very, very hard to do. So instead of them pulling the ladder up after they've already climbed it, instead I see it as people who they are seeing the harm that's happening that they did not expect and saying, like, they saw the river flooded, so now they put up sandbags and put up dikes and other things to stop the flooding from happening. They're not trying to, you know, they weren't counting on that initial harm to happening. But once they see there is harm happening, I think the government does have a responsibility to its citizens to try to prevent that from occurring as much as it can.
So you actually believe that the intentions of the government are good? Then that's where your morals.
No, I think it's amoral. They're not good or bad. They just are.
I think the government
it can be
is
good.
here
It can be
to
bad,
look
depending
out
on
for
who's
its
running
own
it.
interests.
That the government is basically looking out for the people. That's why they want to start doing regulations now, right?
They have the incentive to do so. I mean, that is the job of government. Now, the government fails at this. I'm not going to sit here and defend it because it fails at it all the time. And it's done some terrible things in the past, and it does some terrible things today. But conceptually, because this is what you wanted to debate, the concept of morals and things like conceptually, I think having a government in place that has the ability to prevent harm. Now, there is a point where you can go too far with it, and I think that we have gone too far with it in certain cases. But when it comes to new technology like the blockchain, again, I'm not trying to prevent people from engaging in transactions over cryptocurrency. I don't think that's asking too much. I don't think it's necessary, and I think there's a lot of benefit that can be had from it. However, what I am asking for is a way to at least give someone who has been scammed legal recourse to try to get their money back. And I think that's what we should be working for, what the government does, because the government has interest in that. If the government can provide stability for its citizens like that, if the government can provide financial stability for the poorest among them, it helps the government in the long run.
Sort of, yeah.
I mean, I'll put
it in a much simpler term, right? Is governments like stability, you know? They don't want boats rocked, because when boats get rocked too hard, they get overthrown. So they're going to do whatever it takes to maintain stability, right? And when it was a small fucking side project of rich, you know, fucking Wall Street weirdos, it wasn't too big an issue. Now that it's a huge market that can impact economies of scale, right? Now it's a big issue and can affect stability, so now they're going to touch it. Simple as.
Okay.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I think we've done it. We've touched on this. And we don't have.
We solved crypto.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you all for coming through. We will be back with more content as we always are. So come back for that in the future. I am going to send you off. Remember, if you haven't done so already, if you've been enjoying this content, hit that follow button right now. If you haven't done so yet, before you head off, hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. We do it 6 nights a week. We have our Twitter where we tweet things. We have YouTube where you'll find the VODs. If you missed anything, so check out there. Like, comment, subscribe, consider becoming a YouTube member to support us that way. Or you can what was the other one? YouTube, Discord, Discord, which is where we have everything. This is our Ancilla community.